Woohoo!
Yeah.
A simple pleasure for me is in the summer when you wake up and you can feel that warmth, but then you're like, oh, I'm in the kitchen.
That moment when you pour the batter into the tin.
It's that magic when you combine a few ingredients.
That first chunk of the baguette and then just cheese straight from the fridge.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my online series, Simple Pleasures. Here I'll be joined by a special guest each week as we dive into all of life's simple pleasures and what a simple pleasure means to them. This week, I'm joined by the talented Benjamina Ebuehi, who is the author of the delicious The New Way to Cake. I've made the masala chai cake in the book It's Divine, a food stylist and a recipe writer, as well as an ambassador for the Luminary bakery in London, a social enterprise that looks to empower women through baking. Hi, Benjamina.
Hi.
Hi. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. Bright and colourful. I love the orange top. Super summery.
The sun is out. I thought, let's get all the colours out. Let's do it.
So I'm trying to think how I discovered you. I think whether it's Instagram. I discovered Luminary Bakery.
Maybe Instagram.
Clerkenwell boy. I don't know.
Okay.
And then I actually went to the bakery and you were closing down. So it was like
typical.
It was like time, it wasn't open. I just, because I'm not in London very often, so I just like,
Oh,
right, I'm in the neighbourhood, I'll try. And I'd been like, all the cakes you make there, all the things, it's just, you literally want to
everything. Everything.
I mean, the same goes for your cakes, or all the sweet treats you post on Instagram, the cookies, the peanut butter cookies you posted the other day.
Love those so much. Like I'm always got like a stash in my freezer. Love it.
Well, I have to stop with cookies in the freezer because like I just whenever I can.
Another one. Yeah.
So I think it was via Instagram I kind of discovered you, and then you got in touch with your new cookbook.
Yes.
And
yes.
I got a sneak peek, which I thought I was really lucky to get a sneaky peek. And it's there. I've got it on my little file there.
Love
it's
that.
Bit, smudged with greasy fingerprints. So I won't.
That's always a good sign. That is always a good sign. It means that it's being used. So I'm happy with grease marks.
So you kind of your way into food is quite interesting because it's not what you originally started off with, is it?
Not at all. A very kind of untraditional way, I guess, of being here. But started once I graduated uni, I thought I was going to go into teaching and just teach the kids maths and all that good stuff. And then kind of Bake Off kind of came up halfway through that. And I thought, oh, this is fun. I love to bake. I love food. Let's give this a go. Let's see what happens. And here we are, I guess.
Yeah, so it was like a little kind of diversion into food. But do you find there's a correlation between maths and baking?
I think a little bit. I do have that mathematical brain, so like ratios and like I can scale up, scale down, super easy, and just that kind of organizational mind, I guess, has a massive benefit with baking. So it does help.
I've found you have to be precise with baking. You can't just like, oh, I'm gonna just, well, I do. I just chuck it. That's when I'm recipe testing. But if you want to follow a recipe, when it comes to baking, you have to stick to it because too much butter, too little sugar, everything.
Too much baking powder, and then it's just got a bit of a disaster. Whereas like cooking, you can be just really flexible, and I think you can save things a lot easier with cooking. But baking, once it's gone in the oven, it's like, well, we'll see what happens when it comes out. So have to be super precise.
So your cookbook, The New Way of Caking, I always want to say baking.
New Way to Cake, New Way to Cake.
I've just renamed your book. How embarrassing. The New Way to Cake. What was the process of putting that together? Like, how did you like go about it? How did you come up with the idea?
I think like cakes have always been like my kind of first love within baking. Like I love breads, I like pastry, I like desserts, but cake has always been that kind of, this is my go-to, this is what I want to make when I've just got extra time or for a celebration. And so I knew that I wanted to kind of focus on that area, but also wanted to bring in something new and like new flavors, and not just kind of have the classics, lemon drizzles, chocolate cakes, but just really kind of push the boundaries a little bit and show people how much more that you can do with cakes and what kind of flavors you can mix together and incorporate, just to kind of have, just to extend like your repertoire a little bit more and have much more variety. So it was very much just putting all the flavors down that I love on like a massive paper. What do I really enjoy eating together in baking and also within like the cooking side, and seeing ways that I could incorporate that into cakes.
There goes the police in the background. They're not after
perfect timing.
Times of renaming your book. I think that's what I really like when I first got a sneaky peek at your book, and that's what really stood out for me, is that your approach to spices and flavors and not being shy and really kind of pushing yourself in a different direction. Like you get chocolate and coffee is pretty, you get the classic.
Yeah,
but then
classic.
What actually did you think of combining this and this? And so it's really really something I think is great if you're somebody who's looking to just try something out different. You want something,
just something a bit new. Exactly. That is the direction I wanted to go in. Like just to try something new, see what you think. And yeah, the response has been really nice. So I'm loving that.
That's fantastic. I really like, one of my simple pleasures, which my TV show is about, is like finding simple pleasures in cooking, is when you have that smell of spices. Like when I made your masala chai cake, for instance, it's when it started baking and those warm spices were in the air. And that for me is it's that kind of comforting, warm feeling you get from baking. Is like a simple pleasure I get like from cooking and baking. And I was wondering whether you have any simple pleasures when you come to baking or cooking you really enjoy.
I think with baking, like I love just pouring that moment when you pour the batter into the tin. That for me is just really like, okay, the main phase done. It's going in and you're just like scraping all the batter from the bowl, and then you're smoothing the top of it just before it goes in, and just have a little look at it and say, yeah, that looks like good batter. Have a little taste and then just slide it in. That is one of the moments that I really, really enjoy with baking, is just having that little pause before it goes right in the oven and just saying, yeah, okay, that looks good.
I think it's also that magic. You've all those ingredients.
Exactly.
And then you put it in the oven and it's just, and then
it just starts puffing and suddenly you have a cake. It's insane.
Exactly.
I love it.
Always am astounded that, a few ingredients, and you don't always need eggs. You can there's so many flexibilities. Like, you can play around with different ingredients nowadays, but it's that magic when you combine a few ingredients,
and then suddenly, every single time I'm just like, wow, that is just, science is cool. Like, that is
exactly.
So cool.
Maybe they should teach science like through cakes at school.
Through food. I think a lot of kids would pay a lot more attention.
Well, I don't know. Did you have home economics at school?
We didn't have that.
I had home economics. This is my age. So we made shortbread and shepherd's pie and like crumble. We made crumble, and so that was okay. And then when I lived in Germany, we actually made 3-course lunches in Germany. So we made a starter, main, dessert. I mean, it was.
But that's such a good skill. That's such a good skill to have at that age.
I mean, you teach baking, don't you, as well?
Yeah. So sometimes at Luminary, teach some of the workshops there, which is fun. So it kind of brings in that teaching side of me that I do still really like, but with something that I really enjoy. So I love that.
You find there's a particular class or subject where everybody goes, oh, I'm really excited about this?
Oh, I think probably cakes, but also pastry, I think, because people hear pastry and think that's going to be really, really hard. But I think by the end of it, when they realise, oh, like there was always like shy away from pastry and pastry is really like, oh my gosh, it's going to be just so incredibly difficult. And then halfway through, they're like, oh, is this it? Oh, I can do this. And I think that's something that I love just hearing, just to show that a lot of the things that you think are probably out of your reach or super difficult, actually, if someone just kind of shows you how to do it in a really simple way, then you can do it, and it's also really fun. So yeah, pastry is fun.
I used to teach pastry. Yeah, I think that's also, you just don't want hot weather.
Well, on a day like this, that would not be fun. That would not be fun.
So, like a simple pleasure for me is like in the summer when you wake up and you can feel that warmth, you know, and
you know it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, you know, but then you're like, oh, I'm in the kitchen and there's no air conditioning.
I'm going to just sweat completely and just melt. Oh, gosh.
So, like, in your general work day, is there, like, a pleasure, like something you find where you super satisfactory, or something like professionally you find like, that really ticks my simple pleasures box?
Maybe just like if I've got to do like a massive like shop or supermarket shop for like a shoot or something, just having that kind of, 10-15 minutes with a coffee, sitting down by the window maybe, and just kind of writing my list, going through my list and adding little bits or tweaking things. I really enjoy, that's a real pleasure for me. It's just that kind of pause in the day, got my coffee, just going through my list, making sure I've got everything. And that's just a really nice, a really nice time.
Do you have a particular kind of coffee? Like at the moment, everybody's going on about, is it Dalgona? Am I saying it right?
Dalgona, yeah, I've not tried it. I've not actually tried it. I don't know. I've seen mixed reviews about it.
So for anybody who doesn't know what a Dalgona coffee is it from Taiwan? Is it, I think?
Taiwan or Korea?
I'm sorry.
Taiwan or Korea.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness, this is like going to be onslaught on social media.
Okay.
But anyway, sorry, I haven't made it yet. But anyway, it's like you kind of whip up like instant coffee.
Yeah, with some sugar. Yeah. And then suddenly it just like gets really frothy and creamy. Yeah. Which just kind of blows my mind a bit. I don't know how that works.
I think there's something pleasurable about seeing that magic happen. So you're not a Dalgona coffee girl. What kind of coffee?
I've not tried that. Well, right now, given that, all like my favorite coffee shops are kind of closed or just a bit further away, so I'm just having a classic French press, which has been, taking it back to basics. Just good French press.
Nothing wrong with classic. It's like you always say, I think French press is something, and also the Italians have the so bad at the words, the little silver pots
that go on the stove.
Yes. Forgotten the name. Also, like when it starts to bubble out, I like the sound of that.
And the smell as well. That smell of coffee. I'm like, the morning is here. Okay, let's start the day.
Are you somebody, if they don't have their coffee, you can't speak to beforehand?
I'm getting better. I am getting better. I think a few years ago, I was that person. I was like, I need my coffee and then I am alive. But now, I can manage a little bit, but I do still need that cup every day.
Understand that. I tea and coffee. I need both, basically. I'm that bad.
Give me all. Give it to me all.
And if I'm lucky, I have a little local bakery. Sometimes they do pain au chocolat. If I'm lucky, then I'll have one of those.
That's good.
Because I'm a bit of a pain au chocolat snob. I don't eat any old pain au chocolat or croissant. It has to be a good one.
Because a bad one can really just ruin your day. It can ruin your day. Yeah. So I mean, we don't want that.
I love, that pleasure of when it's flaky and you kind of unravel the layers.
Oh, that's just have it like bit. But I always say the chocolate till the end. I'm one of those ones. I just like pick around it and then I have the chocolate at the end. Love that.
Now, recently I've tried to, I don't know, be more mindful and enjoy like everyday things. And that's where the premise of the TV show kind of came about, that, you know, you don't need to go anywhere grand or do anything special to find this little pleasure in day-to-day life. Is there anything you find like, a pleasure you could, like a simple pleasure you can do with friends and family, or something you've done in the past? I guess now it's a bit more difficult, or something you really are looking forward to doing in terms of simple pleasures with friends?
I think, yeah, during lockdown, yeah, it's been such a weird time, but something that I've enjoyed that we've been kind of able to do is just like be outside more. I think I've appreciated that on a whole new level. I'm like born and raised Londoner, like the tube, been taking the tube since I was, you know, how high. Rarely really like went for walks for fun. It wasn't something I do. I walked to the bus stop, walked to the tube, and that was kind of it. But now I've just really enjoyed just going for walks, just because, and just like being able to, you know, have socially distanced walks with friends, or go with like my family I live with. That has been something that I've appreciated on a whole new level, and it's just been actually something that I look forward to, like every day when the sun's like, oh, I can't wait for a walk, which a few months ago I would have never ever said that. And I've been able to explore like my local area more, and just realizing, wow, there is actually so much on my doorstep that I did not know was here, like so many parks. I'm like, I've lived here for a long time and I've never seen this. So that has been one of the best pleasures. It's just exploring outdoors a lot more, and yeah, appreciating nature a lot more.
I definitely think there's something to be said about getting outside and kind of not being stuck inside. And yeah, I mean, we all took it for granted, and I certainly did take it for granted. And now it's like getting out, enjoying the weather, or even if it's raining, I'm not fussed anymore.
Just give me some air, give me some fresh air, and just some breeze, and just a new environment. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is very good.
So you mentioned you grew up in London. I kind of grew up in London on and off. I spent a few years in Croydon, in Bromley, so it's a little bit suburbs. And then I lived in Germany for a while. And I was wondering, as a kid, are there any kind of things, like pleasures you really looked forward to, or something, a pleasure you think you continue today? I'm really putting it on the spot. I should have emailed you the questions before. I can tell you one of mine, like when I was one of my pleasures was every Saturday we went to the newsagent, and I had 50p pocket money. This is how old I am, because for 50p you could
get a lot,
quite a few penny sweets, and like so it was like going at the weekend to spend like that little bit of pocket money going to the newsagent. And still, when I go back to the UK, I love going to the corner shop and getting a packet of crisps, just because I don't know, there's something about corner shops and news agents.
They're unique. They are absolutely unique, and they have anything you need, they've got it. They've got it somehow.
Yeah, and it's always like tucked away and stuff like that. Yeah,
I love it. They are just incredible.
Random things from your childhood, like Space Raider crisps, or
oh my gosh, Space Raiders, yeah, all those like 10p crisps range were like or like Freddos.
I don't have the 10p anymore. Or like Curly Whirlies used to be fun.
I've not had a Curly Whirly in. Do they even sell them still? I don't know.
I think you have to go to your local corner shop.
Of course, he'll still have them. Oh yeah, Freddos were my chocolate. I would just demolish Freddos, just like, oh, absolute fave. Or like even like just the ice cream like van, like getting all those old school ice lollies, which I've not done again in forever, but just like Twisters, or like the ones with the bubble gum at the bottom, and it was just such bad bubble gum. But it was just eating all the ice cream to get that little treat at the end was just, yeah, my favourite.
The sound of ice cream then, it brings joy to every kid, and like the parents are going, oh no, here comes the
oh my gosh, have I got any change? Like
oh, no. So I guess the simple pleasures, there's like something I think which is very now actually, something like the pleasures people are kind of looking for, and the fact that you can't go off to exotic places, nobody's traveling, and so everything's very much focused at home. I find, for instance, I really enjoy ironing. Like I
wasn't expecting that.
I find real because I put on a podcast and then I do some ironing, and then at the end of it, you start off with a heap of like laundry mess, but at the end of it, you end up with a really neat stack.
Okay.
So, are there any household simple pleasures you have, or is it like, no, definitely not for me?
Oh, that's a good one, actually. Household simple pleasures. Oh. Do you know what? Actually, just like watering the plants and just paying more attention, because I'm not normally the one who would do that, but just kind of paying a bit more attention to them and noticing them a bit more, and just like, okay, what do you need? Are you a bit bright? Are you a bit, a bit thirsty? And just kind of, that's been something that I've like enjoyed doing and found pleasure in. It's just kind of tending to the plants and, making sure they're well fed, and that kind of thing. That's been really enjoyable.
Sounds like you've got better green fingers than I have, because I've been trying to grow vegetables. I managed to grow a couple of peas. And I've got a cheese plant, and the cheese plant looks like it's eating food because it's like a bit.
Is it a bit alright,
but I get the I don't know, tending to something at home which you've grown and you see the change and you see that.
Yeah, when it's like, oh, you're doing so well done. It's almost like a little child. I'm like, oh, how are you today? And what can we do for you? And that's been just a nice little like rhythm that I'm, getting into. So that's been really fun.
You mentioned beforehand, one of your like culinary simple pleasures is like scraping out all the batter and seeing it all go in the cake tin. If there's a simple pleasure, like a foodie one you could share with people, what would that be?
Oh, a foodie pleasure.
Mine, it's kind of a combination of guilty and a simple pleasure, is I make mayonnaise with Tabasco sauce, and I love because
nice.
creaminess with a spicy kick. And I love an oven fry. This is like
yes,
oven fry, and it's those crispy, crunchy fries dipped in like a creamy, spicy sauce. For me, that's a real kind of a simple pleasure.
So
is there like I don't know. Yeah, is there something like a simple pleasure food-wise you really enjoy?
Oh, I really enjoy, a couple. I think, cheese. I do love cheese. I'm a cheese lover.
Okay, me
too. So, fresh bread, which from the bakery or something, that first, especially if it's like a baguette, that first chunk of the baguette, and then just cheese straight from the fridge, not even on a fancy, just straight from the fridge.
What kind of cheese?
Oh gosh, I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood just for a good cheddar, a good mature cheddar. That's going to hit the spot. Or sometimes maybe just a good creamy brie as well. I do really like. And just a chunk of bread, slab of cheese, and just sometimes even just standing by the fridge still and just like, I just need this right now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, I mean that saltiness and then the crunch, all the different textures. It's
bread and cheese is so simple, but it just hits the spot. It really hits the spot.
Every time. I think you cannot go with I always say, I never get invited around to people's for dinner anymore. So I always say, you want to invite me around, just like a nice piece of cheese, a piece of bread, and maybe some grapes. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's a fantastic evening.
I don't need anything
I'll take that.
Many evenings in Paris with friends, and we would just eat cheese, bread, and wine.
I mean, what more do you need in Paris, especially of all places? I mean, the best of all three.
Yeah, exactly. But you can recreate that at home. You just like put on some French music in the background.
Get your baguette out, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's all good.
Really
You have to bring the countries to you. So
that's all. That is
that's
all.
what you can do through food. I think that's what's fantastic. Even if you can't travel to those places, you can recreate those flavors and memories, like from times you've been abroad, or like
Definitely.
memories, bring that all
Definitely.
back. Yeah.
I love that, especially in lockdown. It's like those are the kind of moments that you need just to kind of like lift your spirits a bit and just have those memories again. So that's been really fun to do.
Benjamina, I have absolutely loved chatting with you. I've learned a few new culinary simple pleasures. I think we're like on the same level there.
I think so.
Yeah. To all of you viewers back at home, make sure to check out Benjamina's social channels. I'll leave them in the description below. And your fabulous cookbook, The New Way to Cake. Did I just make that up?
No, you didn't. That's right.
I was just like,
no, you got it.
Can you see that? Like, must remember the title. And make sure to check out Benjamina's New Way to Cake, and also my new TV show, Rachel Khoo's Simple Pleasures, which is airing on the Food Network UK from Thursday, the 2nd of July at 9 o'clock. And I'll see you next week. For now, take care. Bye.